what are they sleeping on? Because it just from like I said, some of the data, or at least the data we have with Google searches and all the way to just the sentiment, where is retail? And this feeds into the bears, or this feeds into the crypto crowd, or it feeds into other legacy, financial people. We're like, diminishing returns, guys, like, good luck. If you can't get more people in your little, protocol or your little money, then good luck. So what are we looking at going here with retail? Is it going to be big money that's kind of dragging everyone along, or is there these moments that are going to drag retail in? Like, when you look out on the horizon, what do you see here?
So here's a question for you. How many friends, I call them muggles, people who aren't in Bitcoin, that just don't get it. How many muggles in your circle have reached out to you this cycle saying, hey, is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? Have you had
only a couple?
Many?
One hand. Yeah.
I've had zero.
Yeah, less on one
Zero.
hand. Really? Yeah.
No. Yeah, no, literally zero. What I have had are several people who have been in Bitcoin for many years. Recently, this is like in the last, 2 months or so, many of them reaching out and saying, hey, where's the best place to lever up to buy more Bitcoin? Where do I borrow against my stack to buy more Bitcoin? That's what I have received inflows of. And I think
I'm gonna correct. You're right, and I have not. I don't think I've maybe one person, like you said, a muggle. Right? That's it. Everyone, a couple others were ones that were already kind of watching Bitcoin, maybe more financially savvy. Yes, so you are correct.
Correct. So that you're right. Maybe the only people who would probably contact are people who are into investing and they're finally clicked.
Yes.
Like my dad, he's finally gone. Oh, look, number just goes up. That's great. So we've seen an obvious shift in the investor profile. So the first thing is, I don't think that the speculative retail that we're used to with of previous cycles, I'm not seeing them. I don't see them coming back. I think a lot of people misunderstood how badly FTX nuked that entire sentiment. It is why crypto is so wrecked, because no one cares anymore, because they're like, it's just a levered Ponzi scheme. And then meme coins come out and they literally were a levered Ponzi scheme. And then they all collapse as well because they were full of fraud. So we're in this world where like there just isn't any narrative left for that momentum. What is left is basically Bitcoin. And now we're seeing Bitcoin treasury companies, which are ultimately the altcoins or the shitcoins of this cycle, is my view. So we're in this world where it is a Bitcoin only world. People who are savvy with investing, people who understand money. Actually, I had a very interesting conversation. I won't go into the details for their privacy, but basically it was a dinner that I had. It was myself and 4 women. And they were all very, very come from decent family wealth. And they were actually asked, I've never actually had this experience. They were asking really interesting questions and they were interested. It's the first time that I've actually had like a table of ladies that were all very interested, but they understood wealth. They understood inflation. They understood wealth preservation. And they were like, I've never heard it explained that way. And bang, light bulbs start going off. So that was a really awesome experience for me because I've just never had that experience before. But it was very much a reminder that people who understand wealth are clicking to it. And I really think that's the base layer here. We are seeing the people who actually understand. We're not seeing the speculators coming in. It is very much I have wealth to protect. I'm looking at the world around me. I'm seeing fewer and fewer options. I'm also probably experiencing that, like, really, I've got like 4 of my assets that are doing really well. Everything else is, kind of doing okay. Right? Gold's doing good. Real estate's kind of, it's all over the place, a bit stagnant here and there. Bitcoin seems to be kicking ass. The Mag 7 and the not so magnificent 493. That's really how we're seeing the world bifurcating into winners and not winners. And there's very few of those winners. So I think that like the money side of the equation, high net worth individuals, even retirees, people who have something to lose are the ones who are starting to click to it. We're not seeing, your best mate who's, out there and, partying and whatever. I don't think we're seeing those folks going, oh yeah, I've got to come and speculate on Bitcoin. We're actually seeing serious capital allocation. And that is a very, very different animal. If we look at the ETFs, I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but I recall James Seifert and Eric Balchunas talking about it. It's like 80% retail. And that to me is just Bitcoiners allocating their 401ks and superannuations and all that kind of thing. That's going to be a huge chunk of that. So it's kind of people who already understand Bitcoin, or people who are, like my old man, maybe I should actually allocate to this, and the ETFs are just a really nice, convenient wrapper. It is much easier to explain to Bitcoin to somebody and not have to get them a cold card and 24 words and be like, don't lose this. If you lose this, they're gone. They're like, oh, what? I got to download this weird software. And like, no, if you can like just buy this ticker, done, problem solved. So I think that that's really the pools of capital that we're starting to tap into here. So it's just a more sophisticated crowd. I can't remember who said this. It might be Jesse Meyer or someone like that. But we're really looking at the adoption by dollar, not the adoption by per capita, right? We are not seeing adoption by a volume of people. We're seeing adoption by a volume of already existing money. People who have something to lose, have something to allocate, are starting to click to it. And it's no longer this strange phenomena that like they don't want to understand. They're like, I've heard about that a couple of times. Actually, now tell me about it. I want to understand it now.
I could not agree more. And again, like you're the guy to speak to, and this is, you see all the data more, like you said. I don't believe all the rest of us, right? Because none of us are looking at the data, even Bitcoiners any more than you are. So that's where, but it echoes that sentiment. It's what we are kind of feeling. So in saying all that though, how do you balance this, the ethos, the Bitcoin ethos with, governments getting in? Like, are we at a point, and I asked this with a lot of people, like, I feel like the American Revolution is really kind of what we're going to. And there's like, there's numbers throughout society, there's the Fibonacci retracements, or there's all these, there's numbers in society, right? As you well know. And 3% is one of those numbers, or 3. And so 3% of the people were really what fought the Revolutionary War here in America. And the other 97% were like, whatever, bro. Like, I don't care. Like, the king's not that bad. And then 3% of the guys were like, I'm grabbing my musket and I'm going. Like, I'm not taking this garbage anymore. But then the other 97% won too, because they got the Bill of Rights, they got the Constitution, the framework that actually made America America. Everyone else got that, even if they were against the American colonials or patriots that were taking on the British. So is that kind of what we're looking at here? Because I think a lot of us get into Bitcoin. I was talking to Pierre Rochard like a month or two ago, and he was like, yeah, I got into Bitcoin, whatever it was, 2012. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Everyone's going to get this right away. This is a done deal. And he's like, here we are. So I think we all do that same thing. And then we realize, oh, this is going to be a long, slow process. But I've kind of resigned myself to, it's just going to be a couple % of people that are going to get it. And then we're basically going to drag the rest of society along, whether it's, Bitcoiners, or maybe, like you said, some of these big, pools of money that are coming in. Is that, in your estimation, are we kind of at, hey, convert the king, get these big liquidity pools in to move society to this new standard as they start figuring it out? Or how do you look at all that?
Oh, absolutely, without question. Like, there's zero doubt in my mind that that's the case. And one of the really good studies that I saw, and it was kind of it wasn't formalized, but Brandon Quittem did a great study. He was looking at like the Myers-Briggs, right? And he's like, what is the population distribution? And it's basically this chart where like it's a reverse Pareto, where you've got a majority of people are up here, and then there's like a small fraction of people who are particularly like INTJ, ENTJ, that kind of bucket of people. And the N was particularly important. But anyway, then he just asked in a Twitter poll, where do you sit on the Myers-Briggs? And you just scroll through the comments, and it's just INTJ, INTJ, ENTJ. I forget the other letters, but it's always IN, EN, IN, EN. The back two don't matter, but like, he then took all of those Twitter responses and he plotted them as a reverse chart over the original of like what the population of the world is. Perfect inverse. The smallest proportion of the world in terms of the Myers, again, it's not a perfect model, but that doesn't really matter. The point is the smallest proportion of the world are the largest proportion of Bitcoiners. We are a strange bunch. We're not normal people. We are literally, quite like statistically speaking, not normal. So from that perspective, I think that summarizes it perfectly. You actually don't need the majority. And in many ways, I think that is a fantastic framework to look at this current cycle. It's kind of the old, the Apple ad. You got to have the crazy ones. It's the crazy ones who push this stuff forward. So I actually didn't know that it was only 3%. I'm not familiar with US history, but if the 3% were the ones that fought off the British, that makes sense, right? This is literally the same thing.
If you like that clip, then you definitely got to check out this next spicy clip. I think you're really going to like it. Come on, check it out. But if you want the full version, the full interview, then check that out over here. Come on, do it. See you in there.